To our coverage of the Winfield Cup. This afternoon it's the match between Norths and Easts from Langlands Park. Our commentators, as per usual, Alan Thomas and Andrew Slack. Let's go to Langlands Park for their thoughts.
Well, thanks, Chris. Well, Andrew, I don't often tip against East, particularly when they play at home, but I'm going for Norths to win today. East are a flamboyant side. They throw the ball around all over the place. They do it today in these very cold and windy conditions. They can come up with a high mistake rate. Norths played a little bit more tight, more solid. I think they can win here today.
Yeah, good point you make about Norths, actually, and the win. But I'm looking forward to see how Martin Quinn goes. He's had a build-up. Now people will be looking out for him. I want to see if he can still perform. I think he will, and with Peter Sinclair back on the side, they're going to lose Ian Staines, which is a blow, but I think that attacking flair will be there. I'm going for the Tigers at home.
One flag up, one flag down from our commentators. I'll go with Easts and with Slacky. OK, the Tigers make their way out onto their home ground at Langlands Park. Of course, they've won 6 out of their 7 encounters in the Winfield Cup. Here's how they line up. Hoffman, McDonald, Dowden, Cook, West, Sinclair, Muir are the backs. The forwards, Lusk, Eckert, Quinn, Smith, Price and Crosby. And Bruce Crosby is a 25-year-old down at Langlands Park. He's had plenty of experience and a real workhorse. He's originally from North Queensland. Northern Suburbs make their way out onto Langlands Park. Of course, the Devils have won 5 out of their 7 Winfield Cup encounters this season. Here's how they line up. Adams, Cleary, Cramery, Kelso, Harvey, Samet and Wharton are the backs. The forwards, Herman, Evans, Reid, Duncan, McKenzie and Booth. Now, Steve Herman is 23 years of age and down at Devils territory, he's another workhorse. Also had a bit of experience in the bush at Central Queensland at Wide Bay and, of course, at Northern Suburbs. Well, they're ready for us down at Langlands Park. Let's go to highlights of the match between Norths and Easts.
For David Manson, Langlands Park today, State of Origin Wednesday night. Andrew Slack will be a big nervy time for David on Wednesday night, but he's got this match in front of him here between Norths and East this afternoon.
Yes, well, we had David up at Wide World of Sports Queensland edition yesterday. He seems fairly composed about it all and taking it, as he said, one step at a time, and today's the first step, and I think we should see a fairly good game. Certainly a good attack in East. Norths, I noticed during the week, quoting that they really want their forwards to go as they've been going all through the season. They haven't been beaten, they don't believe, up front, and they don't anticipate having anything done to them differently today from Martin Quinn or anyone else. So they're quite fired up. Gordon Reid leading the way, of course. But I just like the look of East back line, particularly from an attack point of view. Trevor Cook back in the side, and they've got those forwards, Bruce Crosby, Brad Price and Darren Smith in the back row. Really good, skillful attacking players, and they do their share of defence. So I like the look of East, but Norths last week, they showed they can score points. They scored 16 in about the first quarter of an hour. Then they fell asleep for a while, but had enough at the end to come back. I think it'll be one of the better games. They haven't met this season, so we'll see who's going to come out on top. I believe the Tigers.
All right, I'm going for East, and of course one of the most important aspects of today's game will be the conditions. It's cold and windy, and to confirm or deny that, here's Rod Tiley.
It's certainly cold and windy, Alan, so I can confirm both of those. And Greg Oliphant, the Norths coach, believes that the wind will play a factor in the game today, and if they get the opportunity, he wants his players using that breeze. Des Morris, the East coach, doesn't really think that it's going to be all that much of a factor. Morris believes it's a breeze that's mainly blowing across the field, and for the moment I tend to agree with him. As Andrew was saying, the back rowers in Price, Crosby and Smith have been given the orders from Des Morris. He expects big games from them. He wants Peter Sinclair, the 5'8", to work it wide and give the centres Dowden and Cook plenty to work with. Back to Oliphant's game plan. He wants them to take them on up the middle, and when given the opportunity, he wants attack on Rod West's wing. He believes that West is the weak link in this East side.
Well, we'll find out about that as the match progresses, and here's Herman.
Gee, I tell you, that surprises me about West being picked out as a weakness. I thought he's been very solid this year. He supports well. There's been a lot of kicking going on to his wing. Obviously, a few coaches seem to have that notion, but he seems to have covered himself fairly well. And I believe if they do kick a lot to him, and they're kicking right now, and I guess we're about to find out, I think he's a good player, and he let it bounce.
Oh, well, now you know why they're going to kick to his wing.
Mind you, in the middle of the field, where's Cameron Hoffman, the fullback? That's his job. But I don't think we can rub him out after one. We'll talk about it at full time. I think he's quite a good player.
Well, he must be going all right if he's keeping Pat Cowell in reserve grade, that's for sure. So Norths are at the Eastern Suburbs 22. I'm a bit surprised that DJ thinks that the wind won't play much of a role in it, where you saw how that ball stayed up in the air and swirled around. I think the team with a good kicking game and the team that uses short, sharp passes and controls the ball will win. Wharton kicks ahead and McKenzie gets it and scores. He's offside.
And he was.
Well,
good ruling, Manson.
North's looking sharp. Wharton putting the kick in. Mackenzie dashing through, but ruled offside. And, oh, I don't think he was.
Oh, yeah, good metre.
I think Norths were a bit stiff there, but anyway, East relieved the pressure. Here's Lusk, Quinn rather. Eckert a dummy half now for Lusk. Pretty sharp stuff from the Devils regardless, Andrew.
Yes, it was, and of course you speaking to Neil Wharton during the week, he told you how he'd been working on that aspect of his game, the little chip kicks, and that was beautifully executed. And Mackenzie, he's been playing well also. He got the man of the match last week against West, and he was spot on.
Beautiful pass from Price to Cook. He gets around Adams, the covers from Harvey. But Brad Price putting Cook in a beautiful gap. Now North to defend on their own 22. It's Crosby over to Sinclair and Muir. Price again, he's gone without it. And that'll be Evans coming up with it. These two packs trying themselves right out, Rod. One of these packs is going to crack, and whoever cracks first, that'll be the ball game. Wharton running into David Manson now to Kelso. Crosby got him a bit, Muir got him a bit high. Now it's back to Kelso. Samet, can he find a way through? He's making a fair fist of it at the moment. He's at the 22 before his opposite number got him.
And beat 3 East tacklers in the process.
Here's Reid inside the 22. Evans through Wharton. Samet, Booth, coming back inside. 10 metres out. Now it's with Wharton, over to Duncan. Cramery, Cleary, knocking it forward. That was the fight. Yes, forward, says David Manson.
Silly pass from Danny Cramery.
A couple of little fellows in their back line, North, Pat Cleary and their fullback Cliff Adams. Not much of them.
Trevor Cook not taking the dummy from Darryl Duncan then and fanning out onto Cramery, and that caused the Cramery to push the pass East ball into the scrum, and they may lose it.
Yes, North's ball. Quick play the ball here from Wharton. Through Wharton and Samet. Adams. They're in trouble on the left-hand side, East, if they spin it. Herman. 10 metres out. Now Evans, over to Duncan. Booth. Mackenzie going for the line. He's a metre out. Kelso goes to dummy half. No, Evans takes his place. He scores. Troy Evans is over from dummy half. And North's have broken the East defence. They lead by 4 points to 0, but it was good, steady pressure that paved the way for the first try.
Yes, well, a good tackle from Brad Price to stop Mackenzie. But watch Troy Evans. He often does this from dummy half. Does a little pirouette. And we'll see the North's attack here as Mackenzie taken nicely in the tackle by Price, but it's a sort of dummy and a little bit of Rudolph and Uraev. He did it earlier on. He does it this time to good effect. And through the tackle is Darren Smith. From front on, we'll see that fine tackle from Price. But Evans throws the dummy with the double around, and East fell for it. Good steady attack from North.
4-0 with the kick to come. And a little bit of a rub on the back of the head saying, well done.
Well, that's 2 tries in 2 weeks. He got a good try last week against West, Troy Evans, and showed a heap of pace. Very quick. He scored it from about 40 metres out, and just can't recall who was chasing him. It was a three-quarter, I think, and couldn't make any ground on him. So Troy Evans, handy player.
Former Redcliffe player, Troy Evans. Now with the Devils, here's Harvey. Should be a piece of cake for a goal kick of his ability. Oh, he's hooked it away late. That's in, though. It's just got in. That'll give you an idea of the breeze, Andrew. That just hooked straight across, but it was after it went through the upright. So it's 6 points to 0, North's lead. Now it's Price again to Crosby. Tackled by Booth and Evans. Lusk, hard at the line, Paul Lusk. Muir, Price. Sinclair, Muir, has he got it down? Yep, trying Nicky Muir. East in the score. And they're back in the game. North's lead by 6 points to 4.
Well, the dummy from Price initiated the try. Norths going out to their right to try and stop it. They thought Price was going to throw it through the dummy. Inside was Peter Sinclair. Then lovely quick hands. There's the dummy and another pirouette. Lovely quick hands from Sinclair here into Price. And Price and Muir over the line does well to get it down under two Norths tacklers. We'll see more closely from the front on. There's the turnaround from Price inside to Sinclair. The good hands. And then really with two forwards that far out, Muir should have been stopped. He wasn't. He, as you see, he got the ball down quite easily. He's back in business. There's a good hand from Sinclair.
Scores a lot of tries, Nicky Muir. Very strong.
That's not a great sign for the Devils. As we said, as North East took that tap, it's the first time they've been really under pressure defence-wise in the game because they've had most of the ball and they faltered first time round. And really, East should have scored, I think, from the first tackle when they had a run-around move out here and Sinclair made a break. And I think Rod West might have been a bit asleep. There should have been somebody there to take the pass, but they didn't. But anyway, it didn't matter. They got over in the fourth tackle and Martin Quinn to convert.
Makes no mistake. 6 points apiece, 14 minutes to go in the first half, and you're watching the Winfield Cup on Nine's Wide World of Sports. Lusker dummy half for Quinn. They keep it alive, but can they find a hole? Oh, nice tackle, Danny Cramry on Trevor Cook. And there's a quick play, the ball back to Sinclair. And Cramry again chased from behind. Inspirational stuff from the North Centre. Muir now to Smith, and he's lost it. Herman's got it. 8 metres inside Eastern Suburbs territory. Evans from dummy half. Now goes to Samet. Kelso, to Cramry rather. Centre field. 34 metres out from the try line. Now Duncan. He's got it back towards Samet. Now Wharton. Now to Reid. Mackenzie. Cramry with nowhere to go. Here's the final tackle. Who's the kicker? It's the tank. It's high. It's a good kick. It's taking a while to come down, but Hoffman is as safe as the Rock of Gibraltar. Now West from dummy half. Great take by Hoffman. East ruck it out of their own quarter now. Eckert. Quinn. Oh, that's good driving stuff from the Devils.
It's hard in there, I can tell you that from the sideline.
And there's Gordon Reid on Quinn once again, and the other front rower, Herman.
Now Sinclair decides to kick it straight this time. Adams. And he's at the quarterway. Guy Harvey. Wharton over to Mackenzie. Evans again. Now Wharton. And will it go dead? No, it won't. West will have to run it out. And Wharton puts him down copybook style. Hoffman from dummy half. Michael Booth is a mile offside, I think. Yes, I don't think there's much doubt about that. He was well up inside the 5, Michael Booth. Sinclair hooking the ball into touch just outside the court.
Here, make a comment. Hold it, hold it.
Here's Price. Get rid of the football. Okay, now it's play on. Lusk. Crosby. Back to Sinclair. Having a fine game, Steve Herman for North this afternoon. Work rate's been tremendous, and here's a bit of luck going North's way. Now, here's Cramery, but McDonald's come in from the wing. Oh, Kelso, who can't pick it up. Harvey will. Samet to take it up. Outside the quarter. 2 minutes to half-time. 6-all the score. Wharton holding it up for Herman. He knocks off Martin Quinn, but he was pushed to the ground by Lusk. Now Booth. A little bit disorganised there, Norths. Evans over to Wharton. Adams, Cramery, Cleary. Ruling that forward.
Well, East can count themselves lucky that North didn't score on that passage of play. Again, sloppy stuff from East early on to give North the ball. Tackle from the pass from Cramery to Cleary, I believe, called forward. Sloppy play to give North the ball. They weren't able to use it. Only a minute to go to half-time. I think if East can go in at 6-all, they can be well satisfied, because really, territorially, I think North have had the better of the half.
Getting pretty tough on the front row. Let's have a listen. That's North's ball. And away goes Wharton. Back to Michael Booth. And Booth is only 5 metres out from the try line. Now Cleary a dummy half. Over to Duncan. Back it goes to Gordon Reid. And they're a metre short of the try line. Now goes to Samet. He's tackled. Eastern Suburbs to the fore with their defence. Now Evans to Duncan. A long pass to Wharton. Quick hands. It goes to Cramery. Oh, and a big hit from Stevie Down. Right on half-time, and what a tackle from Dowden and Cramery. An absolute gem, and at the break, it's 6 points all.
Okay, thank you, Alan. Well, as far as Des Morris was concerned, what he was talking about was getting a couple of players far more involved. He feels that Nick Muir and Price aren't doing as much as they should be. He wants them to play constructive football. He said to Muir that on a number of occasions the North's forwards had been caught on the blind side. When he sees that happening, he wants Muir to work the ball out into that back line. Oliphant simply said to his fellows, you're a better side. If you keep going forward, you'll win this afternoon.
Mark McDonald at the halfway mark. Well, how did you see the first half, Andrew? What do you think?
Well, I thought Norths were probably fractionally on top if you disregard the scoreboard, which of course is the only thing that counts. But in the last minute of play, East did a couple of things which I believe may just G them up enough for the second half, and they were both tackles. They both came from their centres. Trevor Cook made a fantastic try-saving tackle on Pat Cleary, the winger, when he looked certainly to be over. Cleary was tackled. They spun it out wide to the left. Danny Cramery rather, was about to put his winger away, and Steve Dowden came from nowhere and thumped him, and I reckon what was the best tackle we've seen all season. So from a psychological point of view, I think that will help East. They've now used the kick as Wharton was using it in the first half. They're down in North Territory. If they can stay there, well, I think perhaps they can get back on top. But North's really defending well, using the ball quite nicely too. So the best game, or one of the best games we've seen this season. 6-all tells the story. It's very close.
What would be worrying me if I was Des Morris is the fact that there's something going wrong in his scrum, because they've lost 2 against the head, the Tigers.
Yeah, and on both times, I believe they've won the strike. And they've just seemed to have lost control. They haven't been pushed off it, but something's gone wrong, has ended up coming out North's way. So there's certainly 1 or 2 technical things that need to be looked at, because Eckert's doing the job. He's getting the strike, but it's not coming out for Nick Muir. And I was surprised to hear Morris's comments about Muir not doing enough. I felt at times he was trying to do too much. So we'll see how he plays it in the second half.
Well, just to give you an idea of the scrums, as McDonald juggles and holds it, scrums are 9-0 in favour of Norths.
Well, that is an amazing statistic, and just indicates that really North should be further ahead. Well, they're not ahead. They should be ahead.
Better running from Darren Smith. He had a very quiet first half. I see he's got rid of the headgear.
He got a serve from Morris as well.
Yes, didn't do as much in attack as he normally did. Did a few tackles, but he came into the match with an injury worry. I think he had a problem with his chest, so maybe he's just a little bit concerned with that.
Oh, Mackenzie slinging Trevor Cook into the ground. Sinclair out on the full. Changeover. Just tell me, Rod, did anyone escape? Did anyone escape Des Morris at half-time?
A few of them did, yes, but the back rowers who he was expecting so much from at the start of this game were the ones that, along with Muir, were getting a serve from Morris at half-time. Most of them, though, he was saying that they weren't playing to their ability.
Michael Booth at the halfway.
Yeah, probably a fair comment about that back row, because you come to expect a lot of them because they are talented, and when they don't perform, there's troubles. Well taken by Crameri, but ruled a forward pass from Brett Kelso.
Tell you what, he's looking sharp, Crameri. Every week we see him, he's looking sharper and sharper. He's certainly developing as a centre in good hands.
Yes, he's adapted superbly. The first week or so, he looked a bit tentative. Originally a halfback, spent a bit of time on the wing, but it's getting better and better every game, no doubt.
Well, let's have a look at this scrum from East. In fact, they might have knocked that on. And Morton fed that, and Sammett's got it now. Adams into the back line. So scrums are now 10-0. Crameri. Lost the ball. They've got it back, 6 to go. Sammett's come up with it. Evans. Now Mackenzie. Herman on the short side. I've been impressed with this bloke today. His work rate's been outstanding. Back to Evans, and he's going to drop it. He tried to get a silly pass around the corner to Harvey.
And once again, a few East players just looking at that ball bobbing around on the ground. There's not enough desperation. He will see the ball. Herman gets rid of the pass. Evans loses it. There it is, bouncing around for a couple of seconds, and nobody tries to dive on the ball. And they finally won a scrum.
And they've come up with the ball.
And again, the second rower's feet getting in the way.
McDonald. Crosby a dummy half. The Sinclair and now Price. Underneath is Reed. And over the top is his co-front rower and Herman. They've really had it as a pair today. Eckert nearly went without it, but he's 8 metres shy of the halfway. Muir, Sinclair, no room out there. Inside to Muir. Now Sinclair, Crosby, Michael Booth. Well, that'll be play on since East have come up with it. Now Hoffman gives it to Quinn. Hoffman for dummy half for Lusk.
21 tackles in the first half from Lusk.
Sinclair, Crosby, and now Smith. Darren Smith, and he's going to score. Cliff Adams has missed him, and Darren Smith. That's better stuff from the Brisbane lock forward. Into score, and East lead by 10-6.
Well, I was just going to say, prior to that try, that Darren Smith is out here limping around with a problem to his left knee. Looks as if that went away fairly quickly. Certainly should have been tackled by Cliff Adams. He's had a few defensive lapses in the last couple of weeks. He sized him up well. He had the sideline to use, push him in there, but he wasn't strong enough. Of course, Smith very good in that situation. He's very pacey off the mark too and showing no signs of the injury. You notice Adams getting his head in front of Smith in that tackle, so any young fellas looking at that, that's not where you put the head when you're making a tackle. You get it behind, and Smith had no trouble shrugging Adams away and putting the Tigers in front.
Martin Quinn trying to convert from the touchline. Darren Smith, often wonder sometimes players who play in headgears. I know you've got to protect yourself, but he's not a player that you see him accustomed playing in headgear. He played in headgear in the first half. He did nothing. He threw it off at half-time. He's a different player. He's definitely put more into the first 7 minutes of the second half than he put in 40 minutes in the first.
Well, I wore headgear once in the 14Cs. I was in grade 7 at the time. I went up to the 14Cs and discarded it at half-time myself.
Did you win?
No, we got beaten, actually, so that was the point.
There's Martin Quinn, a couple of metres in from touch. Kicks it well. It's coming back with the breeze. No, it's not. Martin Quinn thinks he's kicked that. He's disgusted.
Everybody over here thought he kicked it.
Manson says no. The touch judges said no, and I must have thought from where I was, I thought it was in.
Yeah, well, I agree with that. It looked to be good enough.
Well, here's the replay. Now, here it comes. Let's keep a close eye on it. Oh, golly.
Don't understand what was wrong with that. There's Crosby at dummy half, of course, playing 5'8" from the scrums, and setting the back line alight from time to time in that position. Sinclair packing in at lock.
He's away. Oh, he might beat Adams. He will, I think. No, Adams just gets him. There's McDonald. McDonald 5 metres out from the try line. Eastern Suburbs, if they get over here, they'll just about put Norths out of business. Sinclair giving it to Quinn. And the big fellows 10 metres out from the line. Eckert goes to dummy half. Now to Sinclair. Muir. Crosby. Price, rather. Back to Muir. McDonald. They're standing still. Crosby. Tackled by his own player. And he's hurt. Gets up slowly to his feet. Lusk giving it to Sinclair. Cuts out Price and gives it to Dowden. And he's well and truly tackled by Samet. On the final tackle, a long pass. It goes to Hoffman. The kick's on. And it goes dead. Well, a little bit of helter-skelter in the far corner.
And the clubhouse went up. They thought he'd scored the try.
I don't know whether Rod West thought he had, but he was going to try and con Manson, but I think it was, oh, gee whiz. Maybe it wasn't a con, it was a try.
He did score. No con, that was a try. Well, David Manson couldn't possibly rule from where he was. He'd have to depend on his touch judge. But there's no risk Rod West scored that.
And that's the sort of thing West does. He just keeps doing the simple things. He supports, he chases balls, he tackles. And rewarded then, well, not rewarded, he scored the try, but he didn't get the 4 points. So work doesn't always pay off.
Duncan. He's got to start doing more, Duncan, if Norths are going to get back into this match. Now from Samet over to Wharton. Here's the brilliance of Wharton that they're going to have to depend on. He's going to have to come up with something on the final tackle. Change over now through Quinn and Price and Muir. And Cook. Trevor Cook tries to always get around his man, not inside. Pat Cleary didn't fall for it. 10-6 the Tigers lead. We're at the halfway mark of the second half. Lusk. Back to Eckert. West. Eckert. Price on the final tackle. No, it wasn't. I'm sorry. Now Muir. Over to Sinclair. Quinn. They're keeping it alive. Sinclair. This is the final one now. Muir. Price. Cook. Now he kicks ahead, but Adams has got plenty of time. Down he goes 10 metres out from the line. Norths are finding it very hard to get inside East Territory. Danny Cramry met with solid defence. Samet at the quarter. Booth. Duncan. Back to Evans.
Some easy yardage in there for Norths, a couple of tackles.
Wharton kicking across field for McDonald. North's plays appealing for a Shepherd, but I don't think David Manson had any intentions of awarding that. Hoffman. So Norths have to keep East pinned in their own quarter. Lusk. East finding it very hard to get out of their 22. Now we're on the final tackle. How good's the kicking game from Muir? Well, he'll give it to Sinclair. And they run it now. Smith on the final tackle. Giving it to McDonald, a forward pass, and that'll be the changeover. And this is the chance that Norths have been waiting for. A set of 6 on the Eastern Suburbs 22 is where they take it with Samet. Back to Wharton. Reed. 18 metres out from the line. Evans. Over to Duncan. Samet. McKenzie. Back to Samet. And he is 10 metres out from the line. Looking very threatening, the Devils. Now Duncan. Darryl Duncan. 5 metres, 3 metres out. Booth. Wharton. Inside Reed. Kelso. Can't get the pass away. Last one. Wharton wants it a dummy half. He's off. Puts it high. Up it goes. That's a try, is it?
Come off a North player,
Yeah, dropped by North player.
Dropped by a Norths player, says David Manson. So play to come back to the quarter. Let's have a look at it. Danny Cramry not... That's 2 he could have scored, Cramry. He had one in his hands up the other end of the ground and couldn't hold it. Now Martin Quint.
Well, East have got to get it out of their own territory. Again, they were caught there because they tried to spin it on the 6th tackle. Admittedly, the man initially aiming to make the kick, Muir, had to pass to Sinclair, and then he was put under pressure. They've got to stand deeper and get it in time so that the kicker can play it down there. So
they can move it now. Great hands, Cook. There's plenty of cover for him, though. Michael Booth. And Booth coming across and typical lock cover. Now West a dummy half to Price. And now Sinclair, Crosby, Dowden, Smith. Tackled on the 22. McDonald on the blind side to Sinclair. Crosby. Last tackle.
will they resort to the bomb? They haven't used it yet today.
There'll be a kick on some description. Price. Dowden. Intercept. And he's away. Has he got the speed? Look at him go. All the way. Neil Wharton's going to score. No. Is that a double movement or a try? What's he rule? He's ruling a try. Neil Wharton's in to score. Well, was that a double movement? I seem to think that it was first look at it. Let's have a look and see if he was pulled down before the line.
Well, it's all
and then a second movement.
It's all about momentum, of course, and there again on the 6th tackle, East declined to try the bomb, try to spin it wide. The result, intercept from Wharton, and Nicky Muir just coming into screen now. Those little steps, just pick him up short of the line, tackle, rolls over,
double movement.
Bang, double movement.
No risk. And oh, I reckon that's a double movement. Where David Manson was a mile down the field. Pretty hard for him to rule where he was, but it just looked to me that Wharton was short of the try line, and then, admittedly, I suppose in his favour, Andrew, he was still rolling, but it was a deliberate second movement there.
Yes, that's right. That's where he seemed to push himself further, put the ball down on the line. So in the last 15 minutes, we've had an East's conversion, which looked for all matters home and hosed. The touch judges waved it away, missed out on 2 points. Rod West scored in the far corner. Wasn't awarded, no try. Neil Wharton seems to have made a double movement and got the try. So that'll be if he kicks this, which he does.
Norths are in front. 12 points to 10. Are we in for the last 15 minutes of a bottler here at Langlands Park?
For them, well, they've got 4 minutes to do it. That was a reasonable grubber, but they've tried the grubber on occasions too. I just think for variation, the bomb's the go, but they haven't got the ball to do it at the moment.
The East fans agree with you, Andrew. They're calling for the bomb as well.
4 minutes to the full-time hooter. And it's Norths in front, 12 to 10. They have the football. They're only 10 metres out from their own line. They wouldn't want to make a mistake here. Off goes Evans.
Hasn't he made some ground in the last 20 or 25 minutes? Every time he's taken the ball, he's made 10 metres.
Danny Cramry. Straight through. Tackle by Purcell. Now Herman. The tactic should be on the final tackle to get rid of it deep downfield. Wharton's a mile back, but it goes to Duncan. He puts the kick in between Hoffman and West. West takes it. He's inside his own 22 as Cranberry puts him down. Just over 2 minutes, I make it to full time. Cook. About 2.5 minutes. Neve giving it to Purcell, the two freshmen. Now Quinn. Still trying to break tackles, Martin Quinn. Hold is the call from David Manson for now Price. Inside to Crosby. Final tackle. The wingers aren't dropping back quick enough. Sinclair's going to try and sort out Adams. Cook and Smith wait for him. Smith puts him to ground. So North only have to play it safe. Danny Cranberry at the halfway mark. Kelso. Good run.
Sloppy tackling from East in the centre, and it's the backs that are making ground.
Mackenzie. In about the last 60 seconds. Reid. Now the final tackle. Duncan. High. Testing Hoffman. It might be too big. But that's come off Hoffman over the dead ball line. That'll be a dropout from the sticks, and that should just about bring up full time. Quick summary in the last 60 seconds, Andrew.
Well, I guess it's going to make a crowded leaderboard up here with North getting the 2 points, or seemingly getting the 2 points. I think a draw might have been a fair result. North did enough to... You'd have to consider them unlucky to get no points if they went away that way, but by the same token, they, in a sense, got 12 bonus points, as we referred to earlier. But they played well defensively, at times looking a bit thin, but always having enough to stop East's attack. East their own worst enemies, I believe, by their tactics in the North's 22.
All right, I think when East look back in this game, they'll find themselves a little bit, well, not a little bit unlucky, dead set unlucky, I'd say. I'm not taking anything away from North as Darryl Duncan strikes towards the line. There's full time. Can East get out of jail after the full-time hooter? No, they won't. That's full-time. And Norths have won here this afternoon, and there's a bit of going on after the full-time hooter. David Manson getting in and saying, come on, we'll call it quits. That's frustration from East. I think they feel they've been robbed. You can't blame them for that. The scoreline at full-time, North 12 and East 10.
Have a look at the full-time statistics in the match between Easts and Norths. The penalties for all the scrums, 12-6 to the Devils. Tries 2-all, goals 2-1 to Northern Suburbs. No field goals. A full-time scoreline in favour of Norths of 12 points to 10. OK, time now to check out our Winfield man of the match. It's down to Rod Tiley.
Well, with me is the man of the match this afternoon. North's front rower, Steve Herman. Steve, we had a profile shot prior to the game, and now you pick up the cheque from Winfield. A job well done. It was nice and tough out there all the way through the 80 minutes.
Yeah, mate, it was pretty tough. Gordon Reid and myself had a job to do, and we had to contain, and our other forwards, we had to contain their forwards, and I think our whole team sort of did a pretty good job. We defended well, and we got them. So we did well. Thanks to Winfield for the Man of Match award, and thanks very much.
Well done to the Devils. OK, well, Eastern Suburbs think they were hard done by, but they certainly scored the try of the match, and it was scored by Darren Smith.
Sinclair, Crosby, and now Smith, Darren Smith, and he's going to score.
Geez, a good footballer, that Darren Smith, and well finished in the corner there at Langlands Park. OK, let's have a look at all the other Brisbane results played today, and some interesting ones. At Newman Oval, Valleys down Redcliffe 22-14, Davies Park, Souths 26, Brothers 6, At the Ipswich Reserve, Ipswich 21 hanging on to beat Logan City 18. And at Cougarai Oval, an upset the young Winner Manly side down in Western Suburbs 32-28. The points table as it stands in the Winfield Cup after 8 rounds, and it's Eastern Suburbs, Valleys, Norths and Ipswich on 12. They head the table. Of course, they've got a 4-point break on Wests. Then come Souths and Redcliffe, Logan City on 5, Brothers on 4 and Winner Manly on 3 points. Well, a split.